battle signal.
Broadcasting live on the UnitedWest.org AM radio network and simulcasting on DirecTV, iHeartRadio, Roku, and the World Wide Web, this is Enemies of the State with Tom Trenko.
All right, it's Wednesday, June 10th. What a show we have for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Our shows are always great. But for the first time in quite a while, we got our control room filled with all the boys. They're back from vacations and in the field and all of that. And we're going to have a little report in a second on this crime scene tape. This tape was someplace yesterday that's been in the news for about 2 weeks. We're going to tell you about this in a couple of seconds. But we now have it to hang here in our studio. So we're going to get a report from, where were you?
Where were you?
I was in Boston area.
Okay.
I was in Roslindale.
We're going to hear about that in a second. Another dead jihadi in the Boston area. Then we have in studio with me on this Wednesday, a friend of ours, friend of everybody's, Billy Vaughn. If we can show Billy Vaughn to the world out there.
There he is.
There he is. Say hello, Billy.
Hello, Tom. Good to be here.
Hello, how you doing? You see the way it works, Billy, when the two of us are there, that's the camera.
Oh, okay.
And then you had your own camera. I had no camera. They had to kind of put a camera in.
He stays on camera
What is
right
that?
there. There he is, right there.
What is that all about?
So
you got your own camera.
There he is, right there.
And then our very special guest, who'll be up very, very shortly, is Sean Rowe. Now, many of you may have heard Sean Rowe's name. He caused a little bit of controversy for the past couple of months, has been in the news because the guy has served valiantly and wonderfully and honorably in the United States Army, but has decided that it's time for another deployment and is getting a bunch of his friends, a couple of dozen, dirty dozen, you know the dirty dozen, or two dirty dozens together.
Starring Lee Martin.
And they're going to go overseas.
Two and a half dozen now.
2.5 dozen overseas to take on the Islamic State, formerly known as ISIS, but the Islamic State. So Sean Rowe is going to be Skyping in from Europe. He's over in Europe. He's putting the pieces together. Veterans against ISIS. We have him here very, very shortly. Fascinating story. So, and then we're going into Extortion 17. This is our day to do our investigative work into the United States cover-up of the shoot-down of Extortion 17 on August 6, 2011. We've had Don Brown, author of Call Sign Extortion 17, the cover-up, basically. Billy's intimately involved with that. We've had on several Gold Star dads. Next week, we're looking to get Charlie Strange here. And what a story that is with his son, Michael, the cryptologist. But Billy and I, later on in the show, will go through the conclusion, 11 questions that Don Brown in his book raised that need answering. So we're getting into Extortion 17 also. Our goal on Extortion 17, simply present enough information of the feasibility, the probability of a cover-up by the United States government on the greatest loss of special operators' life in naval warfare history. So we're going to look into that. But let's go first to the Boston area. We had a great event up in Boston last night with Rabbi John Hausman at his synagogue. Dear friends of ours, Frank Gaffney, the head of Center for Security Policy, Claire Lopez with the agency for 20 years, retired, and then our very dear friend Ace Lyons, Admiral Ace Lyons, 4-star Admiral, head of the Pacific Fleet. They were up there doing a national security presentation, and we had two guys, Alan Kornman and Damon Rosen. Damon, are you with us in studio?
Yes, sir.
All right, we can't see you, but maybe if I reflect my hand like this off the camera, can we see you then? No.
Nope.
All right, why don't you give us a quick update on the presentation last night by Hausman, Mark, over here, by Hausman, Claire Lopez, and Gaffney. And then we got a little video we want to show you of Damon on location, and then we'll move on from there. How'd it go last night, Damon?
Fantastic event at Rabbi Hausman's congregation. like you said, it was the legendary Ace Lyons, who always has to go last when he speaks because he's just a showstopper. And if anyone were to speak after Admiral Lyons, no one would pay attention. So,
Who was Admiral Lyons' name?
Admiral Ace Lyons was the former commander of the Pacific Fleet, the largest fighting machine the Earth has ever known. And he is 87 years old and sharp as a tack. Frank Gaffney spoke, the president and founder of Center for Security Policy, talking about the stealth and civilizational jihad, and the venerable Claire Lopez, over 20 years CIA officer, and she spoke a lot about Iran and other Islamic problems going on. It was absolutely phenomenal. The secretary of the Massachusetts Veterans Affairs Department was there, and it was just awesome. Very good, very educational and entertaining.
All right, and Chief of
Cefarelli.
Cefarelli
From
Chief
Revere.
Cefarelli. Chief Cefarelli was there. I spent some time with him last year when we were up there. And Chief Cefarelli is the chief of police for the Revere town, little tiny town in the Boston area, Revere, Massachusetts. And one of his claims to fame, he's a former military guy, but one of his police claims to fame is on the hunt for the Sarnoff brothers. All the police units were deployed in that whole area, and then the little, I think it was Watertown was the name of the town. He happened to be in that area with his SWAT team when the call came that Dzhokhar Sarnoff was apparently holed up in a little boat in back of a guy's yard. So the Chief Cefarelli went and led the SWAT team attack of the boat, and he's the guy who pulled Sarnoff out of the boat, threw him on the ground, and took him away. And he told us that story last year, which was a very, very interesting story. But, hey, we got the jihad raging in Boston. We know it's raging here in Florida. Show us a little bit, Damon, of what you did in the field yesterday. All right, as you're queuing it up, you went up to Boston for this event. But you also went over to the Roxbury Mosque and the Cambridge Mosque, both mosques part of the Islamic Society of Boston, or as we like to call it, Boston's Islamic Jihad Society. They've birthed, nurtured, and launched so many violent, extremely violent jihadis. That's an oxymoron. Every jihadi is violent. So
Muslims.
we have your tape.
Yeah.
Ready?
Ready to go.
Set it up. What is it?
This is actually at the CVS.
1 second.
The CVS that one Mr. Osama Rahim was killed at by local and federal law enforcement after he lunged at them with a giant military-style knife. So, and that's where it all went down. It was a week ago yesterday, and it was obviously the biggest story going on in the country for a couple of days.
All right, now right there we have on the screen for our viewers, our radio folks at 4:14 after on another, well, it looks like a little rainy here in South Florida right now. Tom Trento, your host, Enemies of the State. Enemies of the State, name of the show. Our goal here is to deal with any enemy of the state of the United States of America, whether it's the Obama administration and their hard left Marxist or their collaboration with Islamic Jihad, whether it's the Muslim Brotherhood that we go after and expose, whether it's the Islamic State and their effort to establish the caliphate. What you just saw on the screen, we'll put that back up, is the area where Osama Rahim was shot, and we're going to see a little piece, Damon, reporting live from there. And what you see right now in my hand was taken yesterday. You going to get in trouble, Damon, for taking this?
No, you are.
This piece of tape was taken from that scene, and we're collecting it here. We're putting it in our collections of jihadi memorabilia. All right, let's roll your tape and see what we looked at here.
Hi, this is Damon Rosen reporting for the United West here in Roslindale, Massachusetts. We are on location at the CVS Pharmacy where Osama Rahim was shot and killed by police and FBI agents exactly 1 week ago today. As you can see, there are still crime scene tape remaining from the investigation. Osama Rahim originally wanted to kill our good friend Pamela Geller, but decided in the end to, quote, go after the boys in blue. And after that communication was intercepted by authorities, he was approached by the Joint Terrorism Task Force right here in this parking lot, where he lunged at and attempted to attack law enforcement with a military-style knife. The end result, Osama Rahim is now dead, and the freedom of speech lives. Reporting for the United West, this is Damon Rosen.
All right, good job, Damon, there, and good job. And here's that tape right here. We're fighting a cultural battle here on the domestic front in the West, in the United States. But some people are engaged in the kinetic battle, some people that we're friendly with, and some people that we have as a guest today. So, Mark, any comments, questions? By the way, our third guest, Joseph, I rescheduled so we have more time with Sean today.
Okay.
And our meeting afterwards I rescheduled so we don't have to rush out of here. So we got good time to spend with our special guest. And let's bring him on right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Sean Rowe. Let's give Sean a hand for...
Yeah, all right.
I don't know, Sean. Some folks think maybe you lost a couple of marbles, or some folks think you maybe bleed red, white, and blue. But after our little time together, they're going to have a better opportunity to get to know you a little better. Take 30 seconds or so. Who are you and what are you trying to do?
Well, I was born in South Carolina. I was raised in Ohio from the age of 5 and so on until I did a year of college at Clearwater Christian in the year of 9/11. After that, I joined the Army due to lack of funds and realizing that school really wasn't for me. So I spent 8 years in the Army. I did 2 tours split between Iraq and Korea. I served most of my career in E5 position with soldiers under me. My time was split between 2 different, I picked up a lot of different MOSs really, but mostly my time was split between a combat heavy engineer unit, building and repairing infrastructure at home and abroad. And the last 4 years I spent setting up and maintaining tactical satellite communication systems for the bigwigs. But what I'm doing now is just going over to the Middle East to help out, because I don't think anyone can disagree that they need help over there.
All right, hang on. Let's walk through this, and I want to introduce you to my co-host for today here in the studio, formerly Billy Vaughn, Sean Rowe.
Hey, Sean. Nice to meet you.
Now, I don't know if you've heard Billy's story at all, Sean.
I have not, actually. I've been so busy for the past 3 months.
Yeah, well, tell him, Billy. Tell him your story.
Well, the story is Karen Vaughn is my wife, and our son Aaron Vaughn was killed in Afghanistan, August 6, 2011. The biggest loss in the history of naval special warfare.
Oh, the Extortion. Yes, I'm familiar with that.
Extortion
I'm
17.
sorry to hear about that, brother.
Aaron was on that chopper. So what Aaron was doing kinetically against this enemy, Karen and I have somewhat attempted to take up culturally here at home, and informing people and telling people about this enemy, and then also about some of the deterioration, the things that are taking place in our military that are actually causing our war fighters to get killed, where the ROE, where their hands are tied, where they don't have the proper equipment, where the senior military leadership, some of them have become absolutely politicians, and so that's what Karen and I do now.
I really wish you luck in getting to the bottom of that, sir, because I have been tracking those events, and there's a lot that doesn't add up, and they aren't the only ones to die involved in this whole instance. I don't know if you're familiar with Brett Bart and Michael Hastings and Tom Clancy, all were collaborating about something involving this issue, and now they're all dead as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have launched, since that happened, August 6, 2011, Billy and his wife and their family, and we here at the United West, we have been exploring this, just simply trying to get answers. One of the blessings from God is that recently, well, a year or two ago, a gentleman by the name of Don Brown, a Navy JAG, retired, heard Billy and Karen, contacted them, wound up writing this book right here, call sign Extortion 17, the shoot down of SEAL Team 6. Billy's son was 10 years as a SEAL, and finally, obviously, SEAL Team 6. And something's wrong. The government, and we love our government, and we love our government so much that we want to correct the abuses that are within it. That's why we're doing this investigation. And we see guys like you who have already, you served your time, you did 8 years, and you're a conundrum, you're a puzzle in a sense. And I want people to get to know you a little bit. But you mentioned something in your quick opening about spending a year at a Clearwater Christian school. Now, did you go there because you're a Christian, or did you go there because it was a Christian school?
Oh, I didn't mention that I actually grew up in a private, small Christian school. Until recently, they were one of the only schools in this country that still actually spanked the kids. But so thanks to my mother, I had a good Christian upbringing, although the military really challenged that and kind of forced me to grow and really reevaluate everything and question everything. And so now I'm stronger for that, because the military is full of atheists and evolutionists. So I definitely did a lot of growing since then. But that my year at Clearwater, that was voluntary. I wanted a good education.
Beautiful. Now, how old are you right now today, Wednesday, June 10th?
32, sir. I was born in 83.
Okay. You got out of the Army. When did you get out? What year did you get out?
2010, March, right before deployment to Afghanistan. I became disillusioned with the wars we were fighting, and there was also both personal and political reasons that I chose to get out.
And what year? I missed the year.
March of 2010.
Oh, 2010, okay. So you got out, and you obviously became, like everybody else, an American citizen, watching this thing unravel. Walk us through, you as somebody who was there, somebody who lost friends there, somebody who fought there. What did you see through 2010, 2011, 12, 13, on and on and on?
Well, the whole ISIS thing started about not too long ago, but yeah, this whole Iraq issue has just really been a topic that I'm very passionate about. I mean, I spent a year of my time there literally helping build that, and to see it all just go down the drain, it's extremely frustrating and painful, and it kills me. And then to see these guys, ISIS, these scumbags, these evil dirtbags just running around slaughtering people, taking and destroying these cities we fought so hard to build up, yeah, it kills me. But so that, I mean, I feel I don't want to go over there, but somebody's got to do it.
Now, hey, Billy, you have any questions? Jump in here. When you were with a unit physically building, what were you building? What kind of things did you build?
Just infrastructure to accommodate both their military and our forces.
A little bit about the Iraqi army that is shouldering the burden right now. Back when you were there, what was your estimation of the typical Iraqi conscript? Whether they volunteered or they were drafted in. What were they like? What sense did they have of patriotism to their country, of commitment to the cause, and what about the Sunni-Shia situation going on in Iraq?
Honestly, I couldn't really answer that first question too much, because we worked hard, long days, pretty much by ourselves to repair runways and a lot of construction work, electrical, plumbing. We did it all. But so I didn't really have any exposure with the Iraqi military. We had a little bit with some civilian contractors from Turkey and Kurds, but that was about it. As far as the Sunni-Shia situation, it's best I'm probably not really qualified to talk about that situation either. It's a complicated situation, but one thing is clear: they need help over there.
Let me say something here, Sean. And first, I need to make a clarification with my friend here, and he is one of my best friends. But a while ago, he said, we love our government. I'm going to have to disagree with my friend here.
Our country.
I love our republic.
Okay.
I love our system of government, but I despise our current government.
How could you possibly?
That being said, Sean, I admire, and I even am somewhat jealous of men like you who will volunteer to go over there, knowing that some of you may not come back, and do what our government should be doing. Christians are being slaughtered over there, and America is sitting idly by. I know it's troubling many millions of American citizens watching Christians being slaughtered, and innocent Muslims and innocent others. Yet our government sits idly by, and so men like you feel convicted in their heart, and if I'm incorrect, feel convicted that somebody has to do something. And that's who America has been all through its history. But this time our government is sitting back, and thank God for men, for you and those who are going with you. And like I said, I envy you somewhat. I'm an old man now. I'm not trained to fight, but I definitely believe what you're doing needs to be done. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Sean, I got to figure this out for our audience. We have a rather large radio audience, 27 minutes after the hour, 27 minutes after 4 o'clock. WSBR Radio, South Florida, and theunitedwest.org on Internet TV. You can pick it up on many other outlets, teapartycommunity.com. All right, you go, I got to go help somebody. So the first question is, who's the somebody? Then it's, how do I help them? What am I going to go do? Who do I hook up with to help? And then it's, why can't I do the same? Why can't I do something here in the United States? I mean, with your background, your knowledge of the enemy, your knowledge of construction, your knowledge of war fighting, why can't you help different organizations here, veterans groups, whatever? Why do you feel it necessary to go there as opposed to stay here?
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, if you had asked me 3 months ago what I'd be doing from now, I wouldn't have known, and I certainly wouldn't have thought I would be doing this. To tell you the truth, over the past year before this all started, I've been working full time on a book, a nonfiction highlight the soldier veteran suicide issue. Most people don't know that almost one soldier a day is taking his or her own life for the past few years now, and several are trying. And then with the veterans, you have triple the young people, you have triple the unemployment rates, you have more than 22 veteran suicides every day for years now, and then you have homelessness. 1 out of 10 homeless are veterans. So these are huge issues that I was actively working to address with my book to highlight the problems. And the last chapter was dedicated towards my vision for a solution with the veterans and for the soldiers. And I made it very clear that I was directing all profits to build a veteran center in Jacksonville, Florida, or nearby there. I think I've come to realize that is the best geographical area to build an efficient veteran center, to employ veterans, to get them off the streets and give them skills. That's very lacking. There's only several organizations in this country today that are providing housing, training veterans with the long-term goal. Actually, there's only one organization with a long-term goal of moving them into homeowners. So that was my goal. That was my plan, and I'm looking forward to, hopefully when I get back, if I get back, to addressing those issues and marketing this book. I was planning on marketing this book when my girlfriend's family invited, she's German, so they invited to fly us out there to Germany for a little vacation, and that's how this whole thing started. I was going to be in the area, and I started reading articles about veterans going over there. So after the second one, I can't really say I decided to go over there. it was more like my spirit pulled me and pushed me. I just feel like I feel compelled to do it. It's something. I mean, we don't have innocent women and children being slaughtered in mass here in America, but it is happening over there. So we want to go over there and help, and then hopefully we can kick ISIS's butt in about a year or two, and then I'd come back and address some of these local issues.
Well, with all that said, it's at least it's comforting to know that the VA is taking care of our soldiers back home and everything like that. It's just ridiculous how we're not taking care of our soldiers back here on our own turf. It really is.
It is.
And I have a question for you, Sean. Is the organization that you're forming, is it almost like a French Foreign Legion in a way, or a type of recruit force to go over there and fight independently of the government? Do you have any association whatsoever with the government?
Well, I'll tell you about us and what we're doing, and give you a little intel brief. Basically, we're just a network to network veterans who can and are willing to go over there and help out. And we're trying to raise the funds so that we can have an effective deployment. There are numerous groups in both Iraq and Syria who are reaching out for help, and we've established contact with almost all of them. But our first primary mission is to kick ISIS out of Iraq. That's a country we have over a decade invested in as a country, trillions of dollars and thousands of lives. So that's our primary goal, is to kick ISIS out of Iraq. We won't get into specifics for security reasons about dates, times, or locations, but I will tell you that the Kurds, that's who we're looking to support. They're in northern Iraq. If you're looking to support and help out in Iraq, you have two options. You have the Iraq-Iran coalition, but I'm not putting my team near the Iran forces because they cannot be trusted. And we know they have been sponsoring state terrorism for around the world for the past 30 years. So that leaves the Kurds. And our own government is, last I checked, was working to pass a bill to arm them. So, that's who we're looking to support, and that's what our main mission, as you can see on our website at veteransagainstisis.org, is to provide security, medical aid, medical supplies, and training if needed and if necessary. We're bringing several combat medics on the team. We're all loading up with medical supplies. We're growing our network to be able to get more medical supplies there in the future. Hopefully.
Do you have plenty of funds?
Well, I am extremely blessed because when I started this, it was actually
the wrong way to answer that.
Yeah.
No, the answer is no. We need money, but
yeah, we do. I was going to say I've been extremely blessed to be able to raise the money that I've been able to raise, but it's not much because it's going to go quick. Because, we can't take much with us. So we're going to have to get a lot of the gear and weapons downrange once we get there. Due to international regulations, we can't take weapons with us. And also future medical supplies, getting them there, obtaining them, that's not going to be cheap. We also are looking to make sure we can lock down armored vehicles. We might be able to take those since we left plenty over there, but we want to make sure we have an armored vehicle. We'd like to make sure we have a drone assigned to us. There's a lot logistically that's involved in this, and this is going to be a long and demanding mission. So, we've raised nearly $80,000, but that's a drop in the bucket of what that's going to go within the first 3 months. I'll tell you right now.
Let me ask you a question on the drone. You're asking that, or you're wishing to get one assigned to you. Will it be assigned to you by the United States or by some other government?
I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we can connect with some military leaders who's ambitious and willing to stand up to this government and support our soldiers and veterans on the ground. If not, I understand there's a lot of skepticism, and I'm not really looking for a lot of support until we get there. Hopefully, if we launch a successful mission right away, we can gather a lot more support. And I'm hoping maybe Jordan or Israel. I think those are good options of countries who might be willing to support us with a drone. That's all we need. You give us a drone in the air, I guarantee you we're going to go over there and kick some ISIS butt.
Well, this is starting to make a little more sense to me now with your explanation. When I first heard about you a couple of months ago, what was the first news story you did? I think it was Jacksonville. When was the first news story you did?
It was like the last week of February.
And how did how did the news find out about you?
Well, I sent an email to my local news, and everything kind of just took off since then. I've been doing interviews with CNN, Fox News and Friends, O'Reilly, and so that's how we've been able to raise the funds that we've been able to raise.
Okay, when I first heard about you and your team, I'm going, what are these guys going to parachute behind, put on camos and blackface and everything, and parachute behind lines on suicide missions? I mean, what are these guys going to do? And your explanation now is that you're developing a team of advisors, basically, guys who have been over there, have fought to get Iraq to a certain level, geopolitically and the infrastructure and all of that, operational, and now they've experienced setbacks. You're bringing a team in to provide assistance. And once you said the Kurds, to me it was it was obvious that if you're going to do this intelligently, you go with the Kurds, who are, by everybody's stripes, all the key people that matter right now are saying we should support the Kurds. There's a certain segment of the Kurds, the PPK, that could be a little bit of a problem.
Well, yeah. Well, that was my
But for the
question.
most part, the Kurds in northern Iraq are absolutely needing help. In fact, they need a lot right now because the Islamic State is starting to make advances against them because their ammunition is going out, their equipment is old. But Sean, your troubles may be over. Today, June 10th, 2015, President Obama approved 450 more Americans to go as advisors to Iraq. He's following your lead, Sean. What do you think about that?
Well, that's good to hear, but I mean, we need a lot more over there. We need more drones over there circling every ISIS-controlled area. They should not. I cannot believe they've been able to run around like they had. I mean, that's to me a total failure on Obama's part, because I mean they knew about it for 2 years, and for 2 years they've been running around slaughtering women and children. That wouldn't have happened under my watch. I would have flooded those areas with drones, and ISIS would not be able to move.
There's a counter argument, Sean, that says right now the Islamic State, if you read their doctrine, and we do a lot of that, we read their doctrine, and they're cleaning house right now. They are they're killing the Muslims that don't line up with them before they go kill the infidel, the Jews and the Christians. So they're just killing each other right now. Why not just let them kill each other? What's the big deal?
Well, the problem is they're taking a lot of innocent women and children with them during this process. So we want to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, and they seem to be, Billy. They seem to be moving, toward the Kurds. The Kurds have the only one of the only chances.
I got a question about that, Tom. And we've failed miserably by supporting. In the past, we have absolutely failed miserably supporting Muslim groups. For example, the CIA's been doing this for years, and their best success story was supporting Osama bin Laden back in Afghanistan. That's their quintessential best story. Why are the Kurds any different than supporting all these other ones that have turned out very bad for us? How is this not going to turn out bad for us?
Well, a better story after Osama bin Laden is the line of Tangier Massoud, who was killed a couple of days before the Northern Alliance, the head of the Northern Alliance. He was killed a couple of days before 9/11. CIA worked with him in the Northern Alliance. Our friend was one of the guys that worked with him to defeat the Taliban in that lightning strike, first couple of weeks. So that worked. But yeah, your question mark has an inherent complexity to it, that we line up ourselves helping these Muslim groups, that after we help them, they turn against us.
But the Kurds have shown a history. There's a track record of the Kurds being loyal to the United States through it all. In fact, even during the time we were in Iraq, the United States was never as loyal to the Kurds as the Kurds have been to the United States, because the Kurds have suffered and suffered at the hands of Hussein, at the hands of the other Iraqis, while they've still tried to maintain their national identity and their loyalty to the United States of America. And I just believe history shows that. I believe, I'm just I'm just a novice and amateur at this, but I believe history shows we can trust the Kurds, and we have, I agree with Sean, we have to trust somebody to stop the slaughter of these women and children, the slave trade, and all the things that are going on. That I believe as America watches this go on, we are heaping wrath and judgment on ourselves because we are.
So the
we are able
Kurds
to
are
stop
the
it.
moderate Muslims that we all have been searching for?
No.
saying?
The Kurds are
Let
not.
me clarify that we're not going to be trusting them any more than we can throw them. We're going to be very careful who we trust. I mean, there's going to be obviously some trust that's going to need to be there, but also there's another thing that needs pointed out. ISIS controls oil fields right now in Iraq and Syria, and they control black markets. They're making millions every day. So every day we allow them to exist increases the chance of an attack on our soil exponentially, because you'd have to be foolish to believe, as much as they hate us, that they aren't actively trying to sneak people across and into our borders. So they need to be eliminated.
I don't know if you know, Sean, but three of us in the studio here, Mark, Damon, myself, plus two of our other guys, were in Garland, Texas, when the two jihadis opened fire on the cops who were outside protecting us, and they were ISIS inspired, right. ISIS insinuated. The Islamic State is mobilizing these people.
We're plus
so that's
two
true.
in our count.
Well, let me get back to the Kurds for a second. The Kurds, particularly the Kurds in northern Iraq, that's their own country. There's a federation. If you go up there right now, and we've had Kurdish leaders on the show, there's Marriott hotels, there's shopping malls. Kurds are baby Muslims. They are nationalistic first. They're tribal first. Their tribes predate Islam, and they have not bought in to Islamic Sharia and all that nonsense. Now, you can find Kurdish groups that do, but the primary Kurds that are running the show, the primary Kurds that are out there, and they're in three countries. They're in Iraq, they're in parts of Afghanistan, and in Iran. A lot of them in Iran.
And Turkey.
And in Turkey. A lot of people are arguing for a unified Kurdish stand, but Iran doesn't want that. So these guys that they're going to go work with are good guys. They're okay to work with for sure. But he says he's not going to trust them, which is good.
Yeah, and I said that wrong about trusting. You got to work, but you got to work with them. I guess we got to stop what's going on, and we have to pull. Here we have we've lost 4,000 men and women in Iraq, trillions of dollars. The American people, the American citizens. This is not easy for me to say as a Gold Star father, but we owe our warriors who have given it all there, and our warriors who have sacrificed by fighting there, and the families who have given up so much, and the American citizens. We owe them something out of Iraq, and President Obama has lost that all. Right. And it's just inside of me, as bad as I hate to think about. Having to do this again.
It's looking like we're going to have to.
Yeah, our history does not need to show that we lost Iraq, because the American citizen and the American warrior did not.
Those are pictures, Sean, of his son, by the way.
I have one point to ask you, Sean. One of the strategies that we were advocating back when Bush took over Iraq originally was taking over the oil fields and paying money out of that to support the United States military, and then gradually, over time, in a MacArthur-style fashion after World War II, turn it back over eventually. Why can't you do the same thing, with a force and go down and take some oil fields like ISIS has taken and fund your operation in that fashion?
Well, that's definitely something we're interested in and we'll be looking into.
I know the Kurds would love to do that.
That's going to be our first mission, is taking those oil fields back.
Well, you take the oil fields back, you can fund your operation till,
Exactly.
Problem is, Sean doesn't have any Abrams tanks like those guys have now, thanks to our government. Here's a new drone that was on your website there. New military drone to fight ISIS.
I got to put a disclaimer out there with some of these pictures. That Facebook isn't actually my Facebook. There was 3
How many of those weapons do you have?
Once I started doing what I'm doing, they invited me to join their Facebook, and I'm now an editor.
Hey, we need one of those weapons here in Florida. We need we need one to turn loose and.
We can't tell the radio audience what we're laughing at, but it's
listen. Let me say this. Here again, as an amateur,
Am I losing control on my show?
This is what I believe. This is what I believe the problem is with Kurdistan and the United States being loyal to the Kurds. Our quote ally, Turkey, does not want the Kurds to be any stronger because there's a large Kurdish population in Turkey, and Turkey is afraid that if Kurdistan becomes stronger, they'll have trouble with their Kurds in Turkey. So I believe the United States is the problem to the Kurds becoming stronger, because the United States is doing what Turkey wants. Well, we're not trying to. We don't want to upset our Islamic ally, Turkey, NATO member. So we keep the Kurds in their place. We keep them down. I hate to say that. I believe we keep a foot on their throat.
Turkey is the biggest problem.
Sure.
How they are still allowed to be part of the NATO alliance is a mystery to me. They are the ones that are so responsible for the early gains of the Islamic State by letting that border with Syria just be an open toll road, a tollless road.
On a good note, Turkey had an election 2 days ago and rejected Erdogan's policies, and now there's a counterparty in there, which is interesting.
They'll all go to jail.
All right, now you're somewhere in Europe. What are you doing right now? When is your launch date, generally speaking, to get downrange?
Well, for security reasons, we got to be careful what we say as far as that. I mean, so we won't be releasing dates because we don't want ISIS suicide bombers to be waiting for us when we get there. But I'm in Europe right now, and it's going to be very, very, very soon. Our rally point is in Europe, and that's the first stage of our journey. So, that should give you a clue.
Okay.
So anybody wants to be a millionaire to take over the oil fields in Iraq, join with this man. He's going to help you do it, right? Is that correct?
That's not the purpose of it, Mark.
I'm trying a little bit different strategy of marketing.
To raise some money for you, yeah. All right, look, do you believe God is leading you in this?
I definitely believe God is the reason for everything. I believe God's in control. I definitely believe He's guiding my life. I shouldn't even be here today. I should have died multiple times. But miraculously, I've got several stories where I should have died, but I was miraculously saved. If we got time, I'll give you an instance. We got a minute. I'll tell you one.
Yeah.
When I
absolutely.
was 4 years old, I fell out of a minivan going down the highway. And so I should have, I'm talking about a highway, major road, going 45 miles an hour. I was 4 years old, but somehow I was able to hold on to the outside handle until my mom switched lanes, pulled over, slowed down. So, my only real memory of that is like an out-of-body experience. I know it's going to sound crazy to a lot of people, but I firmly believe I had a guardian angel that allowed me to hold on to that handle at 4 years of age. And then just a few years ago, I should have blown my head up. I had a 5-gallon can of gasoline. I was starting a huge bonfire on my property in Ohio in the backyard. And like an idiot, I dumped gasoline on one little side, and then I lit a match. And so I had a little flame going, but it wasn't what I wanted. So I went to the other side because I knew it would be dumb to just dump it right there again. So I went to the other side, and so I'm dumping fuel. And like an idiot, it went all the way to that flame. So in a split second, that flame lit the liquid and was burning the liquid all the way towards the can. But the liquid stopped halfway, so it caught the fumes. So it was burning those fumes all the way to the can. I'm like holding it right here, dumbfounded. It was so fast, I didn't have time to do anything. But right when that ball of flame got to in front of my face, I swear my guardian angel blew that out, because the fumes should have been the strongest at that point. But the last 12 inches to the can. So and then plus, there's two times. Honestly, I'm one of those soldiers that struggled with suicide at the ending of my career. It was pretty bad, and I believe God's the only thing that kept me going. And then when I was a child, a teen, I had a severely abusive childhood, and I really was about to end my life, but I believe God's the only thing that kept me to where I'm at today. So I give all praise to God. I shouldn't be here. And like I said, I don't want to do what I'm doing. I don't want to leave my dog and my girl and go over to this desert wasteland.
In that order?
Where people want to take my head off.
In that
But
order?
I feel compelled to do it, and I believe God's pulling me.
Billy had a question. He said, in that order?
Your dog and your girl in that order?
That's my order.
That's Damon's order. No, it's very obvious to us that you have been called to what you have to do. And I've heard you in the news and heard you on our show here say, if you come back. So if you don't come back, if you get killed in this adventure, what value has your life had?
I thank God that I've lived a pretty good life, though. Even though I've had a lot of rough times, I've lived a better life more than most. I know that. So I mean, but what better way to go than fighting for something good? I mean, this is what more noble cause can a man ask for? But I don't believe God's going to deliver me into their hands. I believe God's going to deliver them into my hands.
Wow.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, what do you need to get the job done? Tell us specifically what your needs are, and we'll see if anybody's out there that can help you out.
Well, our biggest need is just raising awareness and support. I believe if we raise enough support, we can pressure somebody, whether it be a leader in our military or another entity internationally, to support us with a drone or two, because that's my biggest fear, is a mass flanking attack by the enemy. But if we have a drone, eyes in the air, they're going to see that coming for miles before we do. And they'll be able to destroy that attack, and they can call it that. They'll have a direct connection with the Air Force to be able to call in an airstrike if they need it. So just raising support and awareness for that support, that's going to be huge. But financially, the need is huge, because this is, who knows how long it's going to take, but it's probably going to take a while to kick ISIS just out of Iraq. And then if we go into Syria, that's going to be, who knows how long that's going to take. So financially, the need is huge. I mean, because we want to be independent. We don't want to have to depend on the Kurds for rations, for food, for water, for ammo, for weapons. Specifically, one of our other biggest needs is, we can get AKs over there. That's not going to be a problem according to everyone I'm talking to. But I want to make sure we can get some good long-range weapons. And I want to make sure we can get some good heavy weapons. And I want to make sure we can get some armored vehicles. So there's a lot of logistics that are involved in this. So I mean, the need for just raising funds is going to be huge. I mean, we've been able to raise a little bit, but I would say we can fund our operation for about 3 months now. But I think once we get over there, support's going to explode. So I'm just trusting in God, really.
Explode.
How if somebody wants to donate? There's no tax deduction, anything like this. This is funding basically a private military operation. How do they do that? Where do they go to give you money?
Yeah, I just want to clarify that the reason we are not filing for that nonprofit status legally is because I refuse to give them proven IRS crooks 1 cent of this hard-earned American money. All right, this money is to go fight ISIS. It's not to go line the pockets of these already wealthy, greedy crooks who are just going to throw it down the drain. So I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. We don't need it to operate anyways. We're raising funds, and I believe we'll be able to raise what we need. So, but if people want to donate, you can go to our website at veteransagaistisis.org. We have a donation portal at the bottom. But I also want to point people towards backthevets.com. Because they thanks to our T-shirt sponsor, Rock Shop Tees, he set up that site. It includes our PayPal donation portal. It includes our GoFundMe page, which we have a GoFundMe page through GoFundMe, and it's a crowdfunding webpage. And then we also have T-shirts that we're coming out with. There's 2 available now.
Show them to us.
Another one. So I really want to encourage people to buy T-shirts, because getting that T-shirt and wearing it around, that's really going to help raise awareness and support. So
Well, let's see the T-shirt. You got it there? The T-shirt.
Well, I'm wearing one right here.
Okay.
And then I'm not sure if the design for this is finalized yet, but this is another one we're working on. This was with a different company that we're not going with, so I'm trying to get that. Should be coming out real soon. So, but you can go there and we'll have numerous T-shirts that we're coming out with. So
All right.
I appreciate it.
Wow, pretty cool. All right, let's do this. Why don't you at 55 minutes after here on WSBR Radio. Tom Trento, your host, with my co-host Billy in the studio here. Sean Rowe, why don't you do this? Why don't you take your iPhone or your video camera, shoot a 1 or 2 minute little video log every day. Just kind of keep a log of what you're doing. And you should put that up on your website if you're not already. But you could send that to us. We'll keep track of you. And when you're downrange, I think it would be pretty cool for you to report back live from the field, to Skype us back, get an internet signal or get a piece of video and upload it later on. And we will follow you in your mission. How about that?
Yeah, those are two things I'm definitely planning on doing. We want to document and log everything, I'm looking forward to playing an investigative journalistic role over there, because the need for news, trustworthy news, and journalists over there is definitely crucial. Most journalists are afraid to go over there. And so I'm looking forward to getting there and playing that, so I can keep not only our supporters informed, but America and the world informed to get the support we need. So I did purchase not a satellite phone, but a satellite hub, so that will enable me internet access anywhere. So yeah, that's
Great.
definitely my goal, is to keep everyone updated, because we're gonna need all the support we can get.
All right, let's check back in with you next week sometime, okay? And we'll see how you're doing, and we'll have you on weekly and follow your work.
I appreciate it. Looking forward to that.
Guys, anything else before we let them go?
Good luck and Godspeed.
Hey, Godspeed. Sean Rowe, thank you very much.
Update for you.
You take care, okay?
Take over an oil filter too. There you go.
All right, take it easy.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you for having me on. God bless you, brothers.
Sean Rowe.
All right.
Yeah,
right,
interesting
good job.
guy.
Yeah.
Man.
I want to go now.
You're on your way to Israel.
Israel,
Now let's
yeah,
go
come
to
on.
Syria.
They're right in the same neighborhood.
They are. Billy Vaughn, what are your thoughts? Your son went over there and fought these guys head on, and now this young guy wants to go back.
Well, I'll tell you, this is what I'd say. I can see, I can see boys like my son, men like my son, wanting to do something like this. When I see exactly where Sean's coming from. When our government doesn't do what's right, when they're not allowing our military to do what they can do. We've always had Americans like this. We've always had Americans that have been involved in fights for freedom in other places, even as our country was being settled.
He needs one of these. Yeah.
Yeah, to get one of those like Aaron's holding right there, yeah.
Well, I like his plan better than Obama's plan. That's for damn sure.
Well, he's got a plan.
Yeah,
he's got a
he
plan.
has more of a plan than Obama.
He does, absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you what, my takeaway from this, and folks, you're seeing Americans, when a government fails a country, Americans rise up. We are obviously rising up here in the United States on, again, the cultural end of things. But you see guys like this that say, look, I have a little bit of experience. I'm going to go, and it isn't some foolish suicide mission to go over there and say, we're going to do special operations against the Islamic State. They're very skilled fighters now, the Islamic State. It's going to fight with the Kurds, who are extremely skilled fighters, and hook up with them. But I know a little bit about the Kurds because I've done quite a bit of research and spent some time with Kurds. They are some of the most hospitable people on the planet. And when you open yourself up to them, they unleash blessings and love and everything toward you. So if they truly, he goes with his band of 2.5 dozen men, they go over there, they're not going to have any needs. They're going to get weapons, they're going to get food, they're going to get clothing, they're going to get everything they possibly can get. And, he may have an interesting existence, particularly if they can bring some skill sets to these guys. Pretty wild. All right. That's basically our show for today. We didn't get to stuff we're going to get to, but we'll do that next week.
Yep.
Interesting. Sean's I didn't know much about him, but he obviously sees that God is calling him to this.
I think we answered the question about crazy or not, and I don't think the guy's crazy.
Not crazy at all.
No, I'd really like to get one of those drones too.
Yeah.
Really.
Which ones, the furry ones or the real ones?
the drone, the new drone there.
We could use them here in a couple of places in Florida. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the End of our show for Wednesday, June 10th, 2015. Tom Trento, Billy Vaughn saying goodbye. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, very interesting. Paul Golden from Britain First in London, live on our show. He's heading up one of the most aggressive and successful and effective ground operations against the jihadis, against Chowdhury and others. Paul Golding tomorrow. See ya.